Hello there, it's Tom here. So, this is Saturday the 30th of May 2026, and I'm here starting to record for my final video for the Universals. The only reason I'm recording this bit is because I just wanted a bit of a document just to say, like, look, this is the last time, I will record for it. I don't think I have the original, first recording I did for the torture thing anymore, so this is a good document to say this is the last time I recorded properly. Although there probably will be, collab videos I've got to do, so if anything, this is not going to be the last proper time I'm recording for the channel. It's just more, this is the last proper video, and so here we go. But yeah, enjoy, and yeah, I'll see you on the other side.
And now the series finale.
If you've checked out today's date, then you'll know that today is my 7th anniversary. But if you've also kept up with my last video, then you'll also know that this is the end. But please, hold back the tears, we still have a video to do, and this is a big one. For years, even before joining the Universals, back in my early days of making analytical content, I always wanted to go fully into a Doctor Who fan project of a certain creator, Jaime Caroll. This being Doctor Who the 11th Regeneration, a series from 2007 to 2009, which is the thing that got me into fan projects in the first place, leading me into this channel and, well, right here, right now, 19 years later. So, for my final time, let's have a look at this forgotten piece of nostalgia. It all comes back to the revival in 2005, doesn't it? Whilst there have been many different fan films by the time the revival had come round, 2005 is where the fan films saw a boom when the new series became a success, bringing in more fans to broaden their minds and to continue the legacy, or making their own legacy at the same time. One such person was Jaime Caroll, who decides to pick up a camera, write up some scripts, and bring in some actors to make a fan series that was to mark its own path, entitled Doctor Who, the 11th Regeneration, which is the series that we'll be talking about today. We start off with Series 1, which contains 8 episodes, uploaded from March 30th, 2007 to October 28th, 2007. These episodes were Sea of Souls, Judgment World, Child of Destruction, Homecoming, The Beast Within, Mirror Image, Realm of Dreams, and concluding with Army of Ancient Ghosts. 11 as a Doctor seems to be more reactive. He gets defensive about things, especially in the finale. 11 as an incarnation seems to be more reactive to things, especially when it comes to situations such as wanting to stop the evil parallel dimension child in Child of Destruction, or going out of his way to go back to a deadly planet to get Nip the antidote for his sickness in Homecoming. He cares about his companions like they are his family, and throughout the series, they change him from being just the Doctor to being their version of the Doctor, and one moulded to help them. I've thought about it hard, and I don't think I have a favourite between Nip and Strider. I think the biggest and best thing about them is that although they're not related, they have this big brother, little brother quality to them. They work together and get on each other's nerves, but you'll never get the sense that Strider would sell Nip out and vice versa. During the first episode, whilst the Doctor is out of the count, we meet a likely lad called Leo. Leo in this series is kind of like the person who isn't in the friend group but wants to impress the leader. I'm glad we get a character like this who, you know from the amount of appearances that he has, that he will become a companion one day, but it's better that we see the growth instead of just seeing them join the TARDIS without the build-up or the reason why. It does have some good moments in this series, such as trying to follow the Doctor, Nip and Strider into the TARDIS in the first episode, the talk between the both of them in Homecoming after the Doctor disappears for a year, or getting to save the day in Mirror Image, proving to the crew that they can actually rely on him and he can do good. There's a whole lot more we can talk about when it comes to Leo, but because he returns more in Series 2 in a more prominent capacity, I'm actually going to put a pin into it now. In the 7th episode, when the Doctor turns into a human called Ben Jackson, he gets to meet a person who becomes a friendly figure to him called Grace Thompson. She seems very focused on helping Ben with his memory problems and tries to become a good friend with him until he gets more and more of his memories back. She prefers Ben, as we see by the end of the episode, and she knows she wants him back, but at least she knows that Ben and the Doctor saved the day at the end. So she feels satisfied that she knows that she doesn't have to get involved with the Doctor again. Now, that's what I would be saying, but like Leo, I'm going to actually put a pin in talking about more Grace, as she, like Leo again, is in Series 2, but in a much more prominent capacity. In the final episode of the first series, we come across another person, which is Agent Lance Hayden, who I think gives a nice shake-up to the team. He has this mindful attitude to him that makes him useful on certain occasions as he's from the future, and certain things from the past don't seem new to him. It's not too prominent early on, but you can see some of the older brother relationship that he and the Doctor have after the first series concludes. I'm also going to put my last pin in here, as I don't want to talk more about Lance until we get to his bigger run in the specials from the first series. The best episodes in the season are definitely the episode 7, Realm of Dreams, and episode 8, Army of Ancient Ghosts. Episode 7 is sort of like Human Nature, but it isn't a straight one-to-one replication of the original episode or novel. It uses the story and builds on it with this version of the Doctor, and the best thing about it, Grace, who I've mentioned before, we'll have to definitely mention again, their chemistry is why this episode elevates over some of the others, and it makes you hope that Grace will come back, which she does, in a big way. Episode 8 feels like the proper finale to these characters. It brings back the Cairo from the first episode, and also brings back the Doctor in the location that he found out in the previous episode causes regeneration to this new incarnation. So to get him back into his location would be harder for him in this incarnation, as well as bringing Nip and Strider along onto the battlefield, which he knows he has to do this right, even if it means sacrifice himself for his friends, which is the Doctor in a nutshell, which I'm glad Jaime was also able to bring that through in the episode. The weakest episode in the series probably has to be episode 5. The story has some interesting ideas to it, within the colony being taken over by possessive power from the pit, which takes inspiration from the story of the Scorpion and the Frog. But what I think lacks in this episode is the more human moments that in other episodes that we have in Nip and Strider. Had there been more of these in this episode, I think it would have probably stood out a bit more. Though overall I can say this is a good first season. It has the great team at the helm of the TARDIS, and some of the episodes are really worth your while, and there's a sense that this is just the beginning and things could really only go up from here. So for clarification here, in this section we'll be talking about a group of episodes which starts with a Children Need minisode from 2007, the Series 1 Christmas special, the next special that came out in the summer of 2008, and the other Children Need minisode from 2009. The first Children Need minisode shows us a brief part of Leo's home life. I thought it was a nice look into this after the more extraterrestrial finale we had with the Doctor's team. The Christmas special comes next, which I think is probably the best out of the 4 episodes that we have here. There's more Nip Strider along with Leo, showing how things have changed and how they could defend the universe when the Doctor isn't around. It also feels like a great celebration of the first series itself and a well-deserved epilogue, with also a clever take on the Axons. Next up was the 2008 special, which I felt like there was the perfect summer holiday adventure of this crew, with a one-off companion, Ariel, who does try the patience of the Doctor, but even he sees that she could go on to greater things with more help. Also, it's just very funny. Lastly, we saw the other Children Need special, which saw us get closer to Eleven and Lance's relationship as they work as a duo, even if it's just working on the TARDIS or helping the Doctor investigate. 11 goes through a lot in these specials, having survived his almost sacrifice and losing almost everybody at the end of these specials. He's not the same Doctor from the first series, let me tell you that. That's why you can see him giving Ariel a chance and him getting more closer to Lance by the end of the specials. Nip is the first companion to go, given the chance to see his family again. His out of all the departures feels the most solemn. You really just don't want to see him go. Strider leaves afterwards, having been told his grandmother's fallen ill. I think his departure also worked, but I also think it should have been more foreshadowed than the last episode that he was in, just so it could hit much harder when he goes. Ariel's a new companion, having accidentally joined the Doctor's crew in attack. Just like Tegan or Donna, where she doesn't really want to be there, but grows throughout the story, and you could see the potential of her travelling along with the Doctor and Lance. But sadly, that chance is taken away with us before things could start, making us a companion who I wish would have stayed on. Lance is the one who grows throughout these episodes, from saving the Doctor in the finale of Series 1 to being his confidant. I was glad he was able to continue on, giving us some great moments with him that makes us really like him more. Now we move on to Series 2, which contains 7 episodes uploaded from March 29, 2009 to November 23, 2009. These episodes contained in the series were Saving Grace, Ascent of the Ferramenta, The Garden of Silence, Key to Friendship, Home Alone, Riandra, and the finale, The Resurrection of the Master. There is another episode that was supposed to be in this series, but I'll talk about this in a later section. We see more sides to 11 in this series. He's more outspoken, more defensive, which you see in episode 2, which you can also see some cockiness in him, which comes throughout the series. Compared to the family bond he was with in the first series, he, Grace, and later Leo fit more as a team dynamic. And you can see from there that he needs them because it makes a bigger difference when they're not there. Grace is probably the best out of all his companions. She's a friendly and tougher character who challenges him more on his actions, but cares for him when things have gone wrong on their adventures. Hands down, the best thing about this series is the chemistry between the Doctor and Grace. They start out rocky before you can see things really start to change, grow, because they care for each other by the end of the series. I compare it to the Clark and Lois relationship that was prominent in season 8 and 9 of Smallville, where these two characters are so opposed to each other that they really shouldn't work together, but there's something that shows that they can, and it's something that wins you over them. I saw the same character dynamic with the Doctor and Grace during the season. Lance is also here as well, only briefly. He still works as well in a single episode of the series, and I was really hoping for the great relationship that Lance and Grace would have had. but he still shined in the brief time he got in this season. We get another companion to the series. Yes, finally Leo joins the TARDIS in episode 5. Leo in this season compared to the last is more humorous and adventurous this time around, which I think was the part of the character that was missing during the last season, and they're the qualities that sort of allow him to work with the Doctor and Grace in this season. Last but not least, we get 2 guest companions of Simon and Peter, who are the stars in the Doctor Light episode The Key to Friendship. Both of them are real people who've joined this strange world and decide that they want to solve this problem before it gets any worse. Again, it harps on the type of character that Ariel was in Attack of the Xerox, but I think because Simon and Peter have more to do in this story overall, they give off more of a spark throughout the episode. This time around, the best episodes would have to be Episode 6, Rianja, and Episode 7, Resurrection of the Master. Episode 6 feels strongly like an old adventure film, or even an Indiana Jones film to it, where the characters in the audience are learning about this new civilization together. I really like the second half of the adventure, where 11 has to go through this temple to save Grace and Leo from the Spectres. There's probably brought the most comparisons to the Indiana Jones archetype, but I think the old adventure tone felt the best implemented here. Episode 7 is technically an old type of story, the what if your teachers are evil trope. But in this version of the story, it just works so well because you have a new version of the Master played by Will Whitehead, who carries the unhinged traits of John Sims' incarnation, but makes the incarnation fit more with Jamie's incarnation of the Doctor. The standout part of the episode is the long scene between the Doctor and the Master trying to one-up each other in the gym. It's a great blend of the classic and New Who style Master scenes that get played to perfection by these 2 wonderful actors. Also bonus points to a post-credit scene, which is probably one of the first things that comes to my head when I think about this series. If I were to sum up my thoughts on Series 2, it would be that it's a fantastic improvement over the first series with another great team in the TARDIS, and now a sense of where they could go from here. But I'm not sure if you noticed, but Series 2 has 7 episodes instead of 8. Why is that? Well, we'll need to go on to the next section to talk about what would have been the last episode of Series 2, Rise of the Nemesis. So after Resurrection of the Master, we will get the next episode, which would have been Rise of the Nemesis. Obviously, this was supposed to be the finale to Series 2. Now, according to details from the footage from the mid-series trailer that came out after Home Alone and other videos, this is sort of my reconstruction of how the plot could have been. The Doctor, now alone after the events of the last episode, would have been brought back to Earth once more, where we would have found more clues about a fired Earth Corporation, which is saw posters and teasers during the second series. During the hunt for these clues, he would have been reunited with Lance, who would have been finding more clues after being stuck on Earth in the first episode. As they do, a couple of operatives who we saw in the post-credits scenes of Saving Grace would have started closing in on the Doctor's friends. So for what we know, this sounds like a proper show-stopping grand finale, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I'm here to say that we sadly won't be able to see any of this, as in 2010 Jamie's computer died, meaning he lost a load of the edited footage for the story. Also, it turns out that 40% of the story had been filmed at this point, with the remaining 60% still left to film. So with that, the story was over. A short teaser was put out in 2019, however since then Jamie's been focused on his efforts on Time Agent, with its final series to be finished during this year. I can say truthfully, hand to my heart, that I was one of those fans during the years who kept thinking about the grand finale and what it could have been, basically. I kept thinking there could have been some way to come out if it would have been either through reconstructions or Lego animations or figure animations as well. But over the years, I've actually realised I'm actually fine with what we've been given. Some things can go majorly wrong, and there's not really much that we can do about it. And even without this finale, it sort of ends the characters in a slightly unintentional, better way for them. The Doctor is alone, but he's also kept Grace and Leo safe, which is the main thing. Anyways, I think it's best we end on a much more positive note. In conclusion, despite it being 17 years since the premature end to the series, I'm still glad we have the series itself. For some people, it was the first major fan series they ever watched. If that helped people get more into the show, then I think that's excellent that they tried this series out and found a way to get to the proper show itself. And I can say personally as well that this was one of the first fan-made content I ever watched this show, seeing the Attack of the Xerox months after it came out on YouTube. I was hooked, and you could say it changed my life. Without that episode and without this series, I wouldn't be here today, talking to you a lot on this channel through this video. So I want to give a big thank you to Jamie for allowing me to have an unconventional beginning to get here, and a way I can conclude things as well. So I guess that's mostly it in regards to things, but I think there's also something else I want to say as well. So here it is. This isn't scripted, this is all ad-libbed as per usual, so make sure I say shooty and surprising a lot. That's alright. That's an old joke. But yeah, this is me just saying farewell again. I know I did this back in 2024, but like, this is the proper time, and I'm glad that I was actually able to come back and continue on. But after this, I am sort of particularly done in that case. There'll probably be some crossovers and there'll be some other stuff coming out as well, but for now, this is like the last proper video I'll do. Good to have a legacy, and it's good to have something to say to yourself, you know, you did this in that case, and this is the video that I'm glad to leave on, and there you go. That's my legacy. My biggest thanks go to everybody who was involved in the channel between 2019 and 2026. Even the friends who weren't on the channel as well. Just thanks to them. 7 years here, I've had a great enough experience to show it's changed my life, and it changed my life for the better. And also, because this is probably hit like 2 days after the anniversary, happy 10th anniversary to the channel as well. So there you go. But as you all know, those fateful words, I'll be seeing you, my friends.
I'm gonna make it bend and break. Say a prayer, but let the good times roll. In case God doesn't show. And I want these words to make things right, but it's the wrongs that make the words come to life. Who does he think he